crowd goes wild.
Back to my channel. Welcome back. I'm so excited. I feel like I haven't filmed in a really long time. Excuse my voice. I don't really know what's going on. It's one of those things where this is the first time that I'm actually talking today. Mind you, it's 2:45 p.m. But yeah, let's get started. So as you guys can tell by the title, today's going to be another segment, another installment of my college advice series. Okay, Brelynn, focus. I'm sorry guys, I'm just so excited because this is actually a collab with my Spelman sister, Lucky. Yay! I'll put a picture of Lucky right here. Isn't she gorgeous? So yeah, Lucky is my Spelman sister. She's Spelman 19 and she's interested in doing YouTube videos as well. So she's also going to do about 25 things that you should know as a college freshman. So I only have 10 because I'm going into detail and y'all know I can talk. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to leave all her information down below. Make sure you check out her video. You know, HBCU Nation, Spelman 19, Spelman 20, Spelman 18, Spelman 66. Okay, let's do this. Okay, so number one, don't underestimate your workload. Okay, so one thing that I wish I knew when I feel like I'm kind of leaning, slouching, but I kind of like it. Let's slouch today. So one thing that I feel like I didn't know when I was an incoming freshman was that, okay, I knew it, but I didn't really take it seriously. I'm there to get an education. I'm there for GPA. I'm there to go on to the next level of my education. So everything that I do matters. Getting a bad grade on one test matters. Getting a bad GPA one semester matters. And I get so wrapped up, at least I know I did personally, and I think a lot of my friends did too. You know, turning up, meeting boys, making sure people know you, joining organizations, eating healthy, exercising. There's so many things to worry about, and sometimes it doesn't cross your mind that, oh yeah, you know, the number one priority should be to do your work. And I know, for example, I'm a biology major, and as a biology major, yes, the coursework is really, really hard, but the thing that makes it the hardest is that there's a lot of independent work. And luckily, I caught on soon enough, because if I waited too long, I would not have been able to do well in the course like I did. But definitely, a lot of the things, it's like you are given so much freedom, and sometimes it's easy to take advantage of that. Don't take advantage of it. Your workload is serious. Like, do your work. You're there for a reason. My tips written down, so sometimes I'm going to read them, sometimes I'm just going to speak verbatim because I know what I'm talking about, but for this specific one I wrote down something that's very good, so I'm just going to read it. Number two, use the writing center. This is something that I was bad at. I didn't really do, but that's only because I'm not an English major. I'm a biology major, and I went to my professor all the time. I would go to professor and I would say, Professor so-and-so, how's this paper? You know, I'm a bio major. Like, girl, you know, so you know how's it doing. But luckily I'm a pretty good writer, so as long as I communicated with her and I worked hard on my paper and then, you know, listen to the tips she gave us in class, stuff like that, I did pretty well. So anyway, but my tip why you should use the writing center is because most colleges have writing centers with upperclassmen trained to help you with your writing. This is so true. If you're not an English major, or especially if you are an English major, or anything that has to do with writing, political science, stuff like that, it's good to have mentors in your same field and also to be the best at what you're doing. I know that if I was an English major, I would want to make sure that I got an A in all of my English classes. That way when I go on, I can say that I'm qualified, that I did well in what I majored in. So think about that. Also, your writing this is very important. This is the part. Your writing is expected to rise at a collegiate level after collegiate level after a few measly comments on your first essay in English. What you did in high school will not be good enough anymore. Many people struggle to advance their writing until 4 or 5 papers into the semester. Save your grade and speed up the process by using your outside sources. That's what I was going at. Yeah. when I tell you guys, yeah. When I tell you guys I got my first paper back, I remember I think I got like a B on it. And I was like, oh, good. Because I remember looking at other videos when I was going in, people were saying that they failed their first one and they were great. I remember, I think it was the valedictorian said that she got, well, valedictorian like the year before I came to Spelman, the two twins, I think one of them got like a D on their first English assignment, and she was like, what in the world, like I only get A's in all my papers. And I was like, well, if she only gets A's and she got a D, and then I got a B on my first one, and I was like, oh, bet it's going to be easy for me to bring it up to an A. But then my next paper I got a B, and then my next paper I got a B. I was like, well, how am I supposed to change anything, because the only corrections you give me is a little change format. Hello, I need a little bit more help. Like, can you tell me exactly what I'm supposed to be doing differently? Because if you don't give me much corrections, I don't think that what I'm doing is correct. You know what I'm saying? So luckily that's when I went to her, because I had, you know, personal problem. I was like, girl, what's the problem with the papers? Let me know. Or before I turn in my paper, this is my paper. So do you have anything now that you think that I should add or take away from it? And then that's when I started seeing those shiny A's. So that's my suggestion. That's my background story. Or like the third thing that I wish I knew was to keep in touch with your friends and your family back at home. Let me read y'all my synopsis. Whether you're in state or hundreds of miles away, your family is worried about you, and most of all curious to see what your new life in college is all about. It may seem redundant telling 5 or 10 people the same story about your roommate sneezing milk out her nose in front of the entire cafeteria, but they just want to share the experience with you. It's hard to show that you're thinking about them and that you care unless you make the effort to continue the relationships. This goes for parents, friends, grandparents, mentors. I know my senior mentor, I literally, if I could, I would have an email that I would blast out to all of my mentors and people that helped me, because there are a lot of people who helped me get to college, especially Spelman, especially with finances, and those people I really wanted to keep in touch with. And I realized even more now when I came back home for, summer break, like, wow, there were a lot of people who I counted on, and wow, a lot of people really did help me, and I'm so glad that I continue to let them know how it went, because it's rude. It's just rude to go away and be like, made it, bam, and it's easy to get caught up in the things that you're doing every day, and so it's easy to get caught up in the things that you do every day and not pay attention to the people who helped you get there, and you're gonna have to go back. So don't wait for the first time that you talk to somebody to be Thanksgiving break or Christmas break or spring break or summer break. The later you wait, the worse it'll be. That's mainly for mentors, that whole segment. But also friends and family, do not come back home summer break having talking to your friends all year and be like, what's going on? What's the hookup? I know me and my friends and I, we had a really good kind of relationship during the school year. We had a group chat. We talked in there every so often. It wasn't like an everyday what's going on. I kept those for like my best friends, like Britt and Brandon. I told them every day really what was going on. And or like once a week I would call them and be on the phone for hours. But you know, for those friends who I would hang out with if I was home, but I'm just not home, and it's, again, you don't want to talk to 10 different people. Again, I had a group chat. We would talk every now and then, tell them about big things that happened. And then when we came back, it wasn't like we hadn't talked in months. We talked. It was just more like, well, really tell me in detail about your friends. I know. So that's what we did. I feel like it worked out really well. So I would definitely suggest that for incoming freshmen. My next thing that I wish I knew as an incoming freshman, which I knew, but this is not obvious to everybody, is to get along with your roommate. Let me read y'all my synopsis. A year is a very long time to feel awkward and uncomfortable in a private space. You don't want to feel mad or tense every time you walk in your room, and you don't want to get to the point where you begin avoiding your room or when you begin avoiding your room in order to avoid your roommate. Transferring rooms is a hassle, and make an effort from the beginning to be conscious and considerate. Ooh, let's say that again. Conscious and considerate, so that if you aren't meant to be best friends, you and your roommate, you still have respect for each other. So that's the main thing with roommates: consideration, respect. What's the other word that I use to begin with a C? And being conscious of everything that you're doing. Think about the other person. again, I knew this from the beginning. I think my roommate had a pretty good sense of that too. That's probably why we got along. We were able to live together. But I know one of my friends, she had to, well, her roommate ended up having to swap. I know plenty of people who had to swap rooms, and I'm just like, that's too much. Like, my room was set, okay? 3rd day in. I wasn't moving anything. I had too many things. No, especially because most of the times you'll get moved from a double to a quad in the basement. And Brelynn doesn't live in quads, nor does Brelynn live in the basement. So, yeah, just think about that. A lot of people are like, oh, I don't have to be best friends. Like, for example, my sister, she does not believe that you have to be best friends with your roommate. That's fine. But you should probably get along with your roommate because it's your room and you don't want to never feel comfortable being in there. So, yeah, let's move on to my next tip or whatever. Okay, one thing that I wish I knew as a freshman in college is to carry my cell phone charger everywhere. Now, in this day and age, let's just be honest, you have your phone on you 24/7. But it's even worse in college because everything is on your phone and or your laptop. Depending on how small and how connected you are with your laptop, those two things need to be with you everywhere. Sorry about that, y'all. I got cut off. Rude. My camera is so rude. My iPhone never used to do this to me. Anyway, so let me go ahead. Sorry about that, y'all. And read my synopsis. If you haven't learned this yet, your phone is your life. Your class schedule, your roommate's number, your alarm clock, your agenda for your assignments, your emergency resident assistant number will all be in your phone, and college nights are legendary for being impromptu. You have to stay safe and be able to be responsible and dependent if anything were to occur. Nowadays, you can't trust your phone battery, so just be prepared at all times so you can make those crazy moments without the anxiety of your phone going dead. I can attest to this. I can tell you guys about one time. It was maybe like the 3rd week of school, and I was out all day, so my phone was about to die, but I was in my room, so I was just like, I'll just let it die. I don't really care. My friend called me and was like, oh, we're about to go to somewhere in West End or whatever. I'm like, first off, we got class in the morning. Second of all, my phone's about to die. What if I do? What? And I was like, okay, it'll be fine. Like, I'll just put my phone on airplane mode. Luckily, nothing happened, but like, what if something happened? What if I got lost? Anything could have happened. Like, I'm being dramatic, but at the same time, like, keep your phone charger on you and keep it charged because you never know what's going to happen, and your phone has everything on it, and you don't know these people's numbers by heart, I promise you. So, yeah, keep your phone charged. Okay, the next thing that I wish I knew when I was an incoming freshman was to build relationships with my teachers, my professors, and my advisors. So, college and life is all about who you know. Behind the normal, go to your teacher's office hours, which is still very important. Make sure your professors and your advisors know you on a Make sure your professors and your advisors know you on a personal level. This not only makes it easier for them when you ask for a letter of recommendation, but when your professor or advisor knows that you're interested in something, they can keep an eye out for internships and opportunities, especially in the department of your major. I know for me in particular, my advisor is for biology majors. So if there was an internship or if there was any type of opportunity for biology majors, as my advisor and as somebody who's in the biology department at Spelman, she can help me out with that. And if she knows personally that I'm looking for an internship, I mean, put 2 and 2 together, it's just going to end up happening. So that's something that I would definitely suggest. Everybody always tells you to go to their office hours and make sure that you know them. That way, you know, your grades are good, and that's great. I feel like everybody knows that going in as a freshman. If you don't know it, that's important. But also, know them on a personal level, because you don't want a letter of recommendation that says so-and-so was great in class. So-and-so always turned in her homework. Well, who is she? Who is this girl? I feel like this is also something to work towards. If your personality is a little, I don't want to say your personality, but, you know, if you're a little less active in class, or when you do go to your teacher or your professor or your advisor, it's just, you know, strictly about business, at least have 1 or 2 professors who you can go to and talk to. These people, they've been through exactly what you are going through. Okay, so that brings me to the next thing that I wish I knew as a freshman, which is to talk to everyone. So this, oh, I used all the data. Okay, anyway, focus. The same rule applies. The same rules apply with your classmates. The most successful people have friendship in an array of places. It's okay to have a set of friends, but venture out to get to know the people who may have similar or different interests than you. If you only know the people that run in your same circle, you're limiting yourself to opportunities and possibly great friendships. Your new best friend could be an art major and you only hang out with people in the STEM department. Labels don't define people. Become well-rounded with your friend selection. So I say this because, one, it's something that I did not think of. I was friends with a lot of bio majors, which is good. Like, being friends with a bio major is good, which I'll talk about. Well, being friends with people in your major is good, which I'll talk about later. But knowing different people will give you a lot of different opportunities. I can't tell you about how much somebody has called me to get to do something that I'm really, really excited to do. And I'm like, if I was only hanging out with so-and-so, I would not have gotten that opportunity. Everybody can bring something different to the table. So make sure you know a lot of different people because, you know, college is about connecting, networking. And if you, yeah, it's good to network with the people in your major, but also outside of your major. So I think that one's pretty self-explanatory. Yeah. My next thing that I wish that I knew is, let's see, number 8, teamwork makes the dream work. Don't become so stubborn that you try to do all of your work alone. Of course, I'm not talking about cheating. We're not cheating here, but you're in college for a lot of time, okay? A lot of time. And if you did every single assignment by yourself in a library cubicle, you'll be lonely and bored for 4 years, all right? College is constantly working together. Not only with people in your lab group or your peer grader in English, but also people with the same professor in different sections or the same course with different professors. First, it will broaden your college experience because you will learn information from several different teachers. Teachers will say one thing in a class and not in the other, sometimes on purpose, sometimes because they forget. Second, completing assignments together will allow you to socialize and get work done. You'll also have a better chance of doing the assignment right and getting a good grade, all of which is important. I'll tell you guys 2 examples. Number 1, in ADW, which is African Diaspora in the World, which is the mandatory African history class at Spelman College, there are at least 5 different ADW teachers. Everybody has the same curriculum and everybody has a different, at least 2 different, well, okay, what? It's possible to have at least 2 different ADW teachers. If you talk to 10 different people, everybody, all freshmen, take the same course. If you talk to 10 different people who all have 2 different teachers, you have 20 different perspectives of the same information that you can use in essays, you can use in projects, you can use in presentations, and your final. And everybody doesn't have the same final, so there's something that you can literally say verbatim. I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all probably hate me as much today as I hate my camera, but it shut off and I don't know what I was saying. So we got to move on. I think we're to number 9. Almost done. Okay. Create your standards before you move in. I talked about this in my, maybe it's a video coming up, I can't remember. But I talk about standards a lot because I think that it's very important. Standards, goals, stuff like that, it makes you get to where you want to be and stay yourself while you're getting there, when you get there. Yeah, so I say, similar to setting goals for yourself, you need to determine what will and will not be okay with you while in college so that you can stay true to yourself. For example, decide if you will party on weekdays or not. Maybe you can party and be up for your 8 a.m. Or maybe you can party, maybe only school events that will end before midnight are acceptable for you. Also, personal standards. How many guys will you give your number to, or visit their dorms, or go out on a date? Maybe not the number, but the quality. Maybe you won't skip your classes, or maybe it's important that you work out 3 times a week no matter what. Set your standards before you move in so that the college lifestyle doesn't change you. I can say that I definitely stuck to my
Look at my big baby. Look at the camera. This is Uchi. She likes to be in every video. Okay. Yeah, shut up.
Anyway, yeah, I can say that I definitely stuck to all of my standards, definitely, that I set myself, because I just don't play. And I would say set realistic standards. If you know that you don't work out 3 times a week now, when you go to college, don't say that you're going to work out 3 times a week. You can say that that's your goal, but your standards are going to be that you stay active, because maybe you stayed active when you were in high school, so completely not staying active is not realistic, but working out 3 times a week is not realistic either. So, you know yourself, set your own standards. I think that's very important, because you don't want to come home, summer break, and be like, I did what? Oh my gosh. I did this, I did that. I would never do that. Like, it's hard to get caught up. And when you're constantly around people who are raised differently than you and who do different things than you, please ignore Uchi in the background. It's easy to get lost in the sauce. Y'all know I love that. Okay, continuing on. Last one. The video's almost over. I wonder if this was short or long. Okay, last one. Set goals and stay focused. Decide what you want to accomplish and then create sub-plans on how you will accomplish the bigger goal. Again, I talked about this. If your schoolwork or your grades is your biggest priority, make sure that you're making time for your homework and studying.
Uchi, we not gonna do this. Okay, honey? I'm recording, alright? You gotta be quiet, okay? We're gonna sit right here, you're gonna be quiet.
Yeah, so if your schoolwork is the most important thing, and also for subsections, you just can't say 4.0. Think about that. That means that you have to get an A or A+ in every single one of your courses. So, what does it take to get an A in your first course? What does it take to get an A in your second course? You got to think, because if you just say 4.0, you'll end up with a 2.8. Ouch, I went there for you. Okay, well, what's next? You can't party every night and then claim that you're working towards a 4.0. Also, setting your goals sometimes means making sacrifices. Put your head down and focus on what you want. If your GPA is the most important thing to you, then these other things you have to realize, okay, yeah, Market Friday, yeah, Hump Wednesday, it sounds great, but my goal is to have a 4.0. So that means that today I have to study. Instead, I want to accomplish my goal. That's what I'm doing today. Again, it doesn't have to necessarily be school, but that's like the easiest one that everybody can relate to, so that's just the one that I'm using today. Okay. It's one thing to change your goal, but it's another thing to fail, like literally be trying and to fail, and then to give up and say, well, I didn't really want that anyway. I'm changing it instead. No, work harder. So that's one thing. Yeah, make sure you don't give up. Research it ahead of time. That way you're setting realistic goals. Set them high enough. That way you're working to something, but realistic. If you never got a 4.0 in your life, I mean, getting a 4.0 in college may not be that easy for you. It's possible if you really work for it, but if you get a 2.8 because you never made an effort, you failed. You failed, and then don't complain and say, okay, well, I just want a 3.0. From the beginning, research it. How hard is it to get a 4.0 at my college? How hard is it to get a 4.0 with my track record? And do I need to change it to 3.0 because that's more of what I can possibly do? So yeah, and know what you want to do. Maybe getting your good grades is like important, but not extremely important. Okay, y'all, so that's the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. I know there was a lot going on, but there's a lot going on in here. Make sure you check out Lucky's video. I have a link down below and a link right here and a link at the end of the video too. Why not? Let's do that too. So yeah, make sure you check her out. Hashtag HBCU Nation, hashtag Spelman, hashtag Oh Don't You Wish, hashtag I'm annoying right now. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you guys in my next one. Bye.
Crowd goes wild.